everyone, it's James here. Welcome to another video. Just going to do a quick response this evening to a video that Beatle Brad did maybe last week. Hi Brad. And it was to do with do you leave the shrink on your records or not? And I thought I would do a response to this because I do have an item to share with you, and that is the Giles Martin Sgt. Pepper remaster, which came out a few years ago now, and I decided to buy the picture disc version. And so just a kind of a preamble, I am not the kind of person who leaves the shrink on records, and I've never done that. I've always removed the shrink. Part of the reason for this, I mean, if you go back into my kind of youth, my childhood, I'm not sure how it was in the States, but in England, historically, records never had shrink on them, ever, in record shops. They would often have, you know, protective sleeves, and you take those off. But records never came shrink wrapped when I was growing up, and you would always have this process of taking the record to the counter because the jacket didn't have a record in it, and the records would all be behind the counter, and the person who worked in the record store would go and get the record in its inner sleeve and would insert it into the jacket for you, and you know, that was the transaction. And I don't think I ever saw shrink on a record until after I joined the vinyl community, or maybe just before. I started to become aware that records were starting to appear again in HMV. You know, this kind of vinyl revival was happening, and I used to see these. I think I used to see these shrink-wrapped records in HMV, and it never felt right to me. I would look at them, and it didn't seem right. These things were kind of encased in this shrink wrap. And like I said, I think it was because, you know, from a kid, I was always used to just handling record jackets in record shops, and you know, that was how it worked for me. And then also I'd heard that it's not good to keep records in the shrink because it can warp the jackets and so on and so forth. But the one exception that I've made is this. Now, it's quite amazing for me to report this, but I have still not listened to the Giles Martin remaster of Sgt. Pepper. I think at the time when it first came out, I got a little bit put off by people sort of implying that the George Martin original version of Sgt. Pepper could now be dispensed with and forgotten about. That didn't really chime with me, really. You know, in my view, Sgt. Pepper kind of, you know, it just is what it is. It's the record that, you know, completely changed popular culture, and you know, there was a mono version, there was a stereo version, and those are the versions which totally revolutionised pop music. So I personally, I did slightly object to this idea that the original version could now just be forgotten about, and we had this new version, and lots of people kind of urged me to listen to it, and they said, you know, you must hear it, it's great, and I'm sure it is good, and I will listen to it one day, maybe not even in the distant future. But I did actually buy this intending to listen to it. This was the version of it I did finally purchase, and I thought to myself, okay, let's give this a spin, let's give it a listen. And for some reason I decided to buy the picture disc version, and I'm not hugely into picture discs, you know, it's not particularly my kind of thing, but I thought it would be quite good fun to have this version. Now, when it arrived and it came through the door, I think at first I did think to myself, okay, I'll break the shrink and listen to it, but I think pretty much the first day I received it, I changed my mind, and I decided, and it's not like me at all, I decided to keep it in the shrink, and I've decided that that's where it's going to stay. And you know, for right or wrong, I just think to myself, you know, this is a collector's item. It's a picture disc of Sgt. Pepper. Part of me actually did think, you know, I mean, picture discs often don't sound very good. And I thought to myself, it would be a shame to break it open, listen to it, and find that it's got some, you know, crappy sound to it. I'd much rather buy a normal edition of it and have that as my playable copy, and keep that one in the shrink. So that's what I decided to do, and so this is now my shrink wrapped version of Sgt. Pepper. And yeah, I just thought it was kind of interesting that I kind of made that decision. Not a decision that I would normally have made, but with this, it seemed to be the right decision. and I don't know, maybe one day I'll change my mind and rip it open and listen to it, but for now my intention is to keep it in the shrink and to keep it in my little box of Beatles goodies here, and you know, perhaps one day when my kids are older I'll be able to, you know, when I'm dead and gone, if I stick something on here saying, you know, warning, this is likely to be worth something, maybe they'll be able to sell it and make some money out of it, who knows. Anyway, just thought I'd share that with you and jump on that thread for Brad, Shrink Wrapped Records. Thanks folks, see you soon, bye.